A government watchdog says NASA will likely delay its launch of Artemis III again. The launch is aimed at returning humans to the moon for the first time in 50 years. It was initially planned for 2024, but is now delayed until December 2025. The watchdog reports it could be pushed back as far as 2027. Joining me now to discuss is CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood. Bill, thanks for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
So talk about the challenges here. Why are we seeing this delay?
You know, there's a variety of reasons that are playing into this. You know, you had the COVID epidemic or pandemic. It really slowed down the development of needed hardware. There are budget issues NASA's facing, and SpaceX is taking longer than expected to perfect their super heavy Starship rocket. That's that gigantic rocket they've test flown twice out of Texas. Both flights were only partially successful. They have to get that worked out, perfected, and launch enough successful test flights that NASA would be willing to put its astronauts on board, because the upper stage of that rocket, what they call the Starship, that's what's going to carry astronauts back down to the moon's surface. So they've really got to get that perfected and get that rocket flying. So as you say, the launch is still technically in 2025, but no one believes they're going to make that. As it turns out right now, the next flight to the moon will send 4 astronauts on a looping trajectory around the moon. They won't land, come straight back to Earth to test the Orion spacecraft primarily. We have a model here. And then the third flight will be the moon landing mission. But you know, 2026 is optimistic for that flight. It's more likely maybe 2027, depending on how the development of that Starship rocket goes.
And, you know, notably, Bill, this will be the first time this has happened in about 50 years. What would this launch mean for NASA?
Well, it's huge. You know, that's the focus of the agency right now, is returning astronauts to the moon. There's scientific evidence that there's ice in these permanently shadowed craters near the moon's south pole. If they can figure out a way to mine that ice, to extract it from the soil, you know, you can break that down and make air, water, and rocket fuel, which really facilitates further deep space exploration. So it's high on the agenda for NASA, and of course it is for China as well. They plan to launch their own astronauts to the surface of the moon in the 2030 timeframe. So there's a little bit of a renewed space race going on right now. NASA should get there first, but that's still TBD at this point.
Okay, lots to follow here. Bill, thanks so much.
Sure thing.